just before I talk about the two albums in this video, I just want to return briefly to the Kissing Cousins album, which I talked about last time. And I included a couple of short extracts from the movie itself. And I just want to go back to those because when you're editing these videos, you do kind of tend to notice little things that you wouldn't otherwise notice. So have a look at the picture on screen there. You can see the guy in uniform behind Elvis and his co-star. And I'm just going to play the video again. And just keep an eye on that guy. Watch what he does. It's really funny watching him because he's smiling the whole time and he can't keep a straight face. He's dying to laugh.
What's the good of reaching 90 if you waste 89? You got one life, so live it. If you don't, it's a crime. Life's a playful.
And another couple of interesting things I noticed was in the next scene I showed from There's Gold in the Mountains. Have a look at the video again and watch, first of all, watch what Elvis is doing with his hands. Compare what he's doing with his left hand with the right hand.
There's such beauty there in the mountains. You can feel your knees.
And you see how he keeps touching the woman on his left. He keeps rubbing her shoulder and touching her, but his right hand never touches the shoulder of the woman on his right side. I wonder what that was all about. Was he having a romance with the woman on his right and he didn't want to show too much affection to her in the scene? That was just a few things I noticed while I was editing the video last time. I thought they were funny, so I thought I'd share them with you. Anyway, on to today's video. For me, Roustabout is an album with one really good side of music and one really poor side of music. And I bet that you know which side I think is really poor. Go on, have a guess. Side 2, that's right. On side 2, you have less than 10 minutes of music, and I'm going to stick my neck out here and say it's the worst side of Elvis Presley music released during his lifetime. It contains what for me is the second worst song Elvis ever recorded after Hey Hey Hey, so I've got to say something about that. The song I'm referring to is Kanye Town, and I don't like it musically and I don't like it lyrically. It's another one of those songs with one of those cliched rock and roll vocal melodies. If you listen to the melody, the vocal melody in that song, it sounds quite similar to Dixieland rock, but in no other way can you compare those two songs. It's like, going to a restaurant and comparing the most expensive bottle of wine in the place with a bottle of Blue Nun. Yes, they're both white wine, but in no other way are they comparable. And also the lyrics, I know they're trying to be funny, trying to be amusing, but it just doesn't work. I mean, imagine how Elvis must have felt when he first saw those lyrics written down. We got a man so skinny you can see his bones. We play him on his ribs like a xylophone. With a pair of spoons, we got a rocking song. You'll see him here in Kanye Town. I mean, poor guy. You've got to give the guy full credit for singing it. Not only singing it, but actually looking like he's enjoying it in the movie. That's pretty good acting, in my opinion. But anyway, I don't want to get too negative about this album because I really do like side 1. So let's move on to the better side, far, far better side. Roustabout itself is another strong theme tune. I really do like that one. When I was younger, I thought that the Jordanaires sang too much in it, and I wanted them to kind of shut up a bit, but I don't feel that way anymore. I really do like it now. And I particularly enjoyed it. I really started to get into it after I heard the version where Elvis sings I'll Be a Raving Maniac at the end. So it's a lot of fun, that one. Little Egypt is a Lieber and Stoller song, and they almost never gave Elvis a bad song to do. So that one's another very, very strong song. And Poison Ivy League is actually one of my favorite Elvis movie rockers from the 60s. It's a great arrangement, and it's got some funny lyrics, and it's really good in the movie too, where, if you remember, Elvis is trying to play and the guys in the audience are heckling him, and he gets his own back by singing the lyrics, the funny lyrics to the song. Very, very good scene and good song. The last two songs on side 1 are, for me, more enjoyable to see in the movie than they are on the album. And I think that's because you can kind of get into the emotions that the character is feeling. In It's a Wonderful World, Elvis and John Freeman are riding the big wheel, and you can kind of feel the joy that they are experiencing at that moment. And also with Big Love, Big Heartache, it's kind of the opposite emotion because the romance looks dead and buried, and Elvis is singing this sad song, and you can feel that sadness that he's experiencing as well. The other song on side one is Hard Knocks, and this one is probably the least impressive song on the side, again because it's got another one of those cliched vocal melodies. It's certainly far better than Kanye Town though. So that's Roustabout, an album of two sides. For a soundtrack album to a movie set in Hawaii, Girls, Girls, Girls has quite a lot of Latin flavoured music. On side two, you've got The Walls Have Ears. On side one, you've got the excellent We'll Be Together. And there was another song, Mama, which was cut from the album and the film. Elvis plays a fisherman in the film, so inevitably there are a few fishy songs in here. And the one that comes in for the most criticism is, of course, Song of the Shrimp. I quite like some of the lyrics in that song.
Free ride, New Orleans, stay in Grand Hotel. Be Creole gal who help you come out of your shell.
Better than that one is Thanks to the Rolling Sea. But back in 1956, I bet Elvis had no idea that within a few short years he'd be singing a song about abalone steaks and tuna fish cakes. Well, coming in loaded is the best of the fish songs, but once again we have an example of a songwriter who just couldn't resist throwing in a double entendre.
I'm gonna see my baby soon as I get back. Knock on the door with my pockets packed. She'll look at me, well, she can't say no. We're coming in loaded, so come on, let's go.
I'll let you decide what was packing his pockets. Once again, we have an excellent theme tune, Girls, 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 written by Lieber and Stoller, and even the awful line, when I pick up a sandwich to munch, a crunchety crunch, can't spoil the song. It features a blistering saxophone solo from Boots Randolph, of course, ably supported by great bass, guitar and drums. There are a few ballads on the album. The best two for me are I Don't Want To and A Boy Like Me, A Girl Like You. In the first one, Elvis sings I Don't Want to Get Tied Down to a Girl Like You. Meanwhile, the melody is all over the place, very restless, as though it's backing Elvis up. The other excellent ballad, A Boy Like Me, A Girl Like You, features the lovely lyric,
I just look at you and I touch your hand, and this ordinary world becomes a wonderland.
If you can't feel that lyric, you've never been in love. I think these two ballads gave Elvis more of a challenge vocally than Where Do You Come From, which for me is a little bit dull. That, of course, was on the single, the A-side of which was Return to Sender, a huge hit that went to #1 in the UK. However, going forward, there would be almost no huge hits coming from Elvis's soundtrack LPs, even though the 4 soundtrack LPs prior to Girls, Girls, Girls had all featured huge hits. And as you probably know, in the film, Elvis sings to a couple of Chinese girls, so of course the composers had to use the Asian riff. But it's a solid album, the rot hadn't quite set in. So let's rank these two albums alongside the 4 we've already looked at. Girls, Girls, Girls is a pretty strong effort, so that one's going right behind Clambake at #2. And Roustabout, not so strong because of side 2, so I'm putting that one just above Kissing Cousins at #5. You might be surprised that Clambake is still #1. Pretty sure it's not going to remain there, but the way I see it is it's a bit like a restaurant with half the menu is like Michelin star quality and the other half is stuff you wouldn't give to your dog. Whereas some of the albums lower down are pretty ordinary restaurants. The food is pretty bland. Maybe they've got 1 or 2 nice items on there. Which restaurant are you going to go to more of the time? You're going to go to the Clambake restaurant. Maybe occasionally you'll go to the Frankie and Johnny restaurant for a change. But that's the way I see it anyway. So I'll do another one of these videos as soon as I can, but thanks for watching. Cheers.